Okay, buckle up, space cadets, because we're about to launch into a story that's more fabricated than a Kardashian's butt. Meet Helena, our resident astronaut who's been chilling in a spaceship called Orbiter 9 since she was a wee babe. Apparently, Earth became a giant dumpster fire. You know, the usual overpopulation, global warming, toxic everything. So they shoved little Helena in this metal can and blasted her off to a planet called Celeste, which sounds suspiciously like a cheap furniture store. Now, the trip to Celeste was supposed to be a breezy 20 years. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Except the universe has a wicked sense of humor, and Orbiter 9 decided to play oxygen roulette. 3 years back, the whole oxygen supply went kaput faster than you can say spaceship hiccups. This left Helena with two not-so-great options. Suffocate, or, well, let's just say, her parents weren't exactly planning a family reunion on Celeste. So, they did the unthinkable, and slightly dramatic, sacrificed themselves to ensure their daughter could reach the nearest gas station. Outpost. Fast forward to present-day Helena. Girl's been rocking a solo act for 3 years. Her daily routine is about as exciting as watching paint dry. Watering her space kale, because, you know, gotta stay healthy. Pumping some iron, gotta keep those zero-gravity muscles toned. Checking her health stats, hopefully not involving a dramatic countdown clock, and reminiscing about her parents. Things are getting pretty thin, oxygen-wise, and Helena's starting to breathe like she just ran a marathon on Mount Everest. Then, one glorious day, the spaceship throws a disco party. Alarms are blaring like a toddler with a kazoo, and Helena's about to right her space when BAM! A magical space shuttle docks with Orbiter 9. Turns out, her distress call finally got through. Probably because it was set to the Backstreet Boys. Everyone loves a classic. Out pops Alex, a space hunk who looks like he stepped out of a protein shake commercial. Helena, who hasn't seen a dude her age since, well, never, is about as smitten as a moth to a flamethrower. Alex, bless his oblivious heart, dives straight into fixing the oxygen situation while Helena practically drills holes in him with her eyeballs. Dinner is a one-sided interrogation, with Helena peppering him with questions like, "So, are there any cute space chihuahuas on your outpost?" Alex, meanwhile, is colder than a penguin's belly button. He just wants to fix the darn spaceship and get back to his Netflix binge-watching, because apparently even space mechanics need to unwind. Thankfully, Alex is a whiz with tools, and by the next day, Orbiter 9 is breathing easy again. Now, it's time for our star-crossed astronaut couple to say their goodbyes. Except, things take a turn for the weird. That night, while Alex is catching some much-needed space Z's, Helena decides to, christen the newly fixed oxygen supply with some extracurricular activities. Let's just say things get a little steamier than a spacewalk in a sauna. The next morning, Alex packs his bags and prepares to depart, leaving Helena with a lingering kiss and a whole lot of unanswered questions. As he exits the spaceship, we see him enter a strange hallway, which leads him upstairs, which then, wait for it, deposits him outside in the middle of the woods. Turns out, Orbiter 9 wasn't actually a spaceship at all, but a fancy-pants Earth simulation. Helena's entire mission was one big, elaborate lie. Buckle up, Buttercup, because things just got weirder than a government cheese commercial. Alex hops in his trusty pickup truck and cruises through the woods, which looks suspiciously like a top-secret government compound. Turns out, Orbiter 9 wasn't the only spaceship-shaped fishbowl in the sea. There's a whole fleet of these bad boys, all part of a super-secret operation they call Project Orbiter. Talk about overcomplicated names. These folks clearly weren't fans of brevity. He reaches the entrance, which is guarded tighter than a celebrity's fridge full of kale. Inside the base, Alex meets Hugo, the big cheese in charge of Project Orbiter. Hugo whips out a tablet that probably costs more than your car, and starts showing off flashy charts. Apparently, they have 10 whole orbiters running, each with a lonely astronaut chilling inside. Good news, right? Well, Alex's face falls faster than a dropped ice cream cone. He's worried sick about these 10 guinea pigs, stuck in glorified metal fish tanks. But Hugo, bless his heartless soul, pats Alex on the back and says, "Sacrificing a few for the good of humanity is totally normal." Easy for him to say, Mr. No Spaceship Isolation. Later that night, Alex tunes into the news, and his jaw hits the floor faster than a bowling ball. Turns out, it's been 5 years since the Celeste spaceship disaster. Remember that fancy spaceship with its 207 crew members? Yeah, turns out it had a bad case of the space hiccups right after launch, resulting in a fiery crash that wiped everyone out. And guess who the head engineer for that doomed mission was? Yep, you guessed it. Our very own Alex, the astronaut with a side of guilt and existential dread. The next morning, Alex vents to his therapist, Sylvia. Now, this therapist isn't your average couch and tissues kind. She uses a fancy screen that hides both of them, like a bad Instagram filter, and even throws in some voice distortion for good measure. The only thing you see is a computerized wolf that vaguely resembles your facial expressions. Talk about awkward therapy sessions. Alex finally cracks and spills the beans about his astronaut torturing job, and how he feels awful for those poor souls stuck in the orbiters. Days turn into weeks, and Alex's paranoia reaches new heights. He spends his free time stalking Helena's live feed, like a lovesick teenager glued to their crush's Instagram. Finally, he snaps. To heck with the rules, he's gotta see his space waifu. He jumps in his truck and speeds off towards the facility, ready to break Helena free, even if it means getting fired and possibly blackmailed by the government. Because, let's face it, who wouldn't want dirt on a guy who faked a space mission? Back on Orbiter 9, Helena's getting her annual space physical when the alarms erupt like a pack of angry geese. Where'd that come from? They're supposed to be in the middle of nowhere. Suddenly the door bursts open and in walks Alex, looking like he just rolled out of bed, which technically he did. He blurts out something about not being in space and needing to escape, but Helena just stands there, frozen stiffer than a bag of frozen peas. To convince her, Alex pulls out a secret camera, because of course there's a secret camera, and a microchip he claims tracks her internal organs. He assures her it's all for her own good, even though it sounds more like a bad sci-fi movie plot gone wrong. Helena's still in shock, but hey, the guy is cute and promised escape. What's a girl to do? So she throws caution to the wind, and possibly some space kale, and agrees to ditch the fake spaceship with Alex. Looks like Project Orbiter is about to lose one very confused astronaut and gain a whole lot of explaining to do. Alright, buckle up space cadets, because things are about to get messier than a toddler with a bowl of spaghetti. Alex, our resident astronaut with a conscience crisis, decides to play a fast one on the Project Orbiter folks. He hacks the camera feed in Helena's fake spaceship and throws up an old recording, like a bad reality TV show rerun. With that trick up his sleeve, he whisks Helena out of her metal fishbowl. Stepping out of the bunker for the first time, Helena's about as coordinated as a newborn giraffe on roller skates. Sunshine and fresh air? Who knew they were even real things? Alex stashes her in his truck like a secret burrito, and somehow manages to charm his way past the entrance security. Talk about smooth moves. They head for a scenic hilltop, where Alex spills the space beans. Project Orbiter, it turns out, is a fancy way of saying human guinea pig program. The whole point is to train folks for the real trip to Celeste, kind of like a space boot camp for the easily claustrophobic. He even drops the bombshell that her parents are, wait for it, still alive. But before Helena can book a reunion flight, Alex throws another wrench in the works. They're part of the project too. Surprise! Landing at Alex's place, Helena's eyes bug out wider than a surprised owl. Toasters? Washing machines? What sorcery is this? Rain even makes an appearance, and Helena squeals with delight like a kid in a candy store. Adorable, but also slightly concerning. The next day, Alex confesses his space bunker-breaking sins to his therapist, Sylvia. Worried about her virtual therapy clients, Sylvia ditches the computerized wolf mask and promises to help Alex if things go south. Later that night, Alex takes Helena on a crash course in Earth, the edition for people raised in a metal can. He bombards her with takeout like a food critic on a sugar rush and takes her to an aquarium, the closest he can get to showing her the real ocean. Budget cuts, you know? Back at Alex's office, Helena spots a wall of computers monitoring the orbiters. Big brother much? She throws some serious shade at Alex for being part of this whole human lab rat operation. But Alex, ever the optimist, gives her the "for the greater good" speech. All this data, he claims, will lead to a flawless trip to Celeste. Yeah, just don't mention the ethical implications, right? Next stop, a nightclub, where Alex introduces Helena to his squad. One of them, Dr. Xiao, the resident med guy, asks about Helena's hometown. Before she can answer, Alex jumps in like a frog on a hot plate, diverting the conversation faster than you can say classified information. Keeping Helena's secret identity is apparently a top priority. The group dives into a philosophical debate about the Orbiter program. Is it humanity's ticket to a new life? Or just a messed up way of ignoring Earth's problems? Alex, ever the believer, thinks it's all sunshine and rainbows. Dr. Xiao, however, suggests they focus on fixing our own planet before blasting off to who knows where. One morning, Alex notices a suspicious rash on Helena's back. Off they go to Dr. Xiao's clinic, where things get interesting. A quick look tells Xiao that Helena's skin is about as sun-kissed as a vampire. He smells a rat, or maybe a space girl, and sends Helena for a full workup while grilling Alex about her mysterious past. Oh, SpaghettiOs! Dr. Xiao is onto Helena like flies on a banana peel. He sniffs out her connection to the orbiter program faster than a bloodhound on a space food trail. Alex, ever the master of smooth moves, or lack thereof, spills the beans about Helena being a clone. Talk about a mind-blowing revelation. While Alex is out getting takeout, because apparently, even rogue astronauts need to eat, Helena decides to do some light snooping in his room. What she finds is enough to make your hair curl faster than a perm in a rocket launch. Turns out, she's not some space princess after all, but just a fancy copy. And to top it all off, she discovers the address of her, well, not-so-real parents. Devastated and feeling like Alex lied more than a used car salesman, she packs her bags and blasts off, metaphorically of course, to find these folks. Meanwhile, Alex returns home to find Helena missing, and a crime scene worthy of a spilled glitter bomb. Her room is a mess, and the truth is out in the open. On the other side of town, Helena confronts her parents. Her mom, all sunshine and rainbows, tries to sugarcoat the situation. Apparently, being a clone isn't so bad. It comes with the best genes from, like, forever ago, making her super healthy, whatever that means. But before they can break out the kumbaya circle, Dad shows up with a party favor: handcuffs. He's about to sell Helena out to the big bad boss man, Hugo, when Mom, in a surprising turn of events, knocks him out colder than a doornail and helps Helena escape. Talk about plot twists you didn't see coming. A few hours later, Helena reunites with Alex and lets him have it with both barrels. He, being the stuttering mess he is, can only offer a weak apology and a hug, because apparently that fixes everything in Spaceland. But hold on to your space helmets, folks, because the drama is just getting warmed up. Hugo and his goons catch wind of the escape, and let's just say, they're not happy campers. Back at headquarters, Hugo fills in Catherine, the head honcho of Project Orbiter, on the whole, Helena fiasco. Catherine, about as pleased as a cat in a dog park, demands Helena's head on a silver platter. Metaphorically, of course, we're not going all medieval here. Hugo, ever the loyal lackey, gets the green light to find and terminate Helena. Meanwhile, Alex seeks refuge with his therapist, Sylvia, the kind soul who uses a wolf mask for therapy sessions. Sylvia, ever the helpful one, offers them a safe haven. But before they can even unpack their space PJs, Hugo and his goons come knocking. Thanks to a little business card, Alex conveniently left lying around. Chaos erupts. Hugo's goons barge in like a wrecking crew, searching for Helena. They stumble upon the therapy booth, completely oblivious to the fact that Alex and Helena are hiding on the other side. Hugo orders Sylvia to activate the therapy screen, and Alex and Helena are forced to play a game of freeze. One wrong move, and the wolf simulation gives them away. The situation goes from bad to worse when Sylvia refuses to cooperate. One of the goons, with the emotional intelligence of a brick, decides to shoot her. This sends shivers down Alex and Helena's spines, and they hightail it out of there faster than a rocket on launch day. Our star-crossed space couple, Alex and Helena, are in a right pickle. After a thrilling rooftop chase that would make Jackie Chan jealous, they hit a dead end. Alex, ever the resourceful one, or maybe just the one who isn't afraid of heights, suggests a daring jump to the next building. He takes the leap first, leaving Helena frozen in fear like a deer in headlights. Easy for him to say, Mr. No Fear of Falling. Unsurprisingly, she gets nabbed by Hugo and his goons faster than you can say, mission failed. Later that night, Alex, looking like he just lost his best friend in a game of space tag, stumbles into the same nightclub. He finds his buddy Dr. Xiao, who looks like he went 10 rounds with a grizzly bear, courtesy of Hugo's goons, of course. Xiao spills the beans on Helena's test results. Apparently, Earth's atmosphere just isn't her cup of tea, and she has to go back to her metal can, Orbiter 9. Alex is about as happy as a spaceship with a flat tire. But then, a light bulb flickers on over his head, an idea so crazy it just might work. Meanwhile, back at Project Orbiter HQ, Hugo begs Catherine, the big cheese in charge, to let Helena back in the program. Catherine, about as flexible as a rusty spaceship door, scoffs at the idea. Sending Helena back would cost a fortune, and let's face it, they're not exactly known for their tight budgets here. Instead, she orders Hugo to silence Helena permanently before the whole escape fiasco becomes public knowledge. Talk about harsh. Hugo starts prepping the space nap procedure, a fancy way of saying goodbye, cruel world. But before he can pull the plug, Alex bursts in like a superhero with a bad plan. Hugo, already primed to get rid of Helena, entertains Alex anyway, just for old time's sake. Here's the crazy part. Alex claims Helena is knocked up with his child. And not just any child, mind you, a space baby that could be the ultimate astronaut for their little Celeste project. He proposes they both go back to Orbiter 9 and raise this super child in a controlled environment. This perfect astronaut would then, in 20 years, lead the real mission to Celeste. Believe it or not, Hugo buys it. He figures a spaceborn kid raised by an astronaut couple could be just the ticket to Celeste's success. So, off they go, back to the glorified metal fishbowl. Fast forward 20 years. A now ancient Hugo waits outside Orbiter 9 for a young woman to emerge, presumably Alex and Helena's space baby daughter. She smiles at something unseen, maybe her parents through a tiny window, then gazes up at the sky. As a spaceship roars to life, ready to blast off to Celeste, we know Project Orbiter, despite its crazy twists and turns, has finally achieved its goal. But hey, who cares about a few ethical slip-ups and near-death experiences when you're on your way to colonize a new planet, right?